You went to bed at a reasonable hour, you slept 8 hours, and you woke up exhausted. You did everything right. The wind down routine, you took the melatonin, you even got that silk eye mask out of the drawer and put it on. You did everything the articles and podcasts said to do, and you still wake up feeling like you barely slept. I'm Dr. Stasha-Gae Roberts, nurse practitioner, veteran, BHRT certified, and the founder of Compassion Primary Care. I built this practice for the woman who is doing everything right and getting nowhere. The amount of sleep you are getting is only one part of the story. The quality of the sleep and the cortisol rhythm running quietly in the background is where the real problem usually lives. And there is one thing happening at your dinner table that may be wrecking your sleep without you even knowing it. We are going to get to that. You are not sleeping wrong. Hopefully, you're not lazy and you're not making it up. And you do not have to prove that you're struggling to be taken seriously here. Let's get into it. 8 hours in bed does not guarantee restorative sleep. Sleep moves through cycles. The two stages that do most of the actual restoration work are deep sleep, deep, slow wave sleep, and REM sleep. Deep sleep is when your brain takes out the trash. It is when memory gets consolidated. It is also when your immune system and your hormones get regulated. REM sleep is when your brain processes emotion and rebuilds cognitive flexibility. Here is what happens in midlife. Sleep architecture itself shifts. Women spend less time in those restorative stages, even when total time asleep looks normal. Research published in Nature and Science of Sleep in 2018 confirmed this directly. This is why so many women describe the same paradox. I slept, the clock confirms it, but I still woke up exhausted. You are not imagining this. The hours are there. The restoration, unfortunately, is not. So now let's talk about cortisol, because this is the piece that almost no one explains. Cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone, but it is also one of the most important sleep wake hormones. The two are not separate. Here is the healthy pattern. Cortisol is supposed to be the highest in the morning, and this is when we get out of bed and do what we need to do as adults, right? It gradually declines throughout the day and it reaches its lowest point in the early hours of the night. And that low point is what allows your brain to drop into deep sleep. In midlife, especially under chronic stress or hormone changes, that rhythm flips. Cortisol stays elevated when it should be low, it surges when it should be quiet, it rises too early in the morning before you're ready to wake. And this is what creates that wired but tired pattern. You are exhausted, you want to sleep, but your body is in a low grade state of activation and it cannot turn off. You may fall asleep, wake at 3 a.m., and then lie there with your mind running. Or you may sleep through the night and still wake up unrefreshed because your nervous system never fully stood down. And I want you to hear this clearly. Sleep duration is not the answer. Sleep restoration is. And sleep cannot restore when cortisol is still telling the body it needs to be alert. There is also a hormonal layer to this. Progesterone, which acts on the same calming brain pathways that anti anxiety medications target, drops in perimenopause. Your brain has lost the chemical that helps to calm it down. Estrogen is fluctuating, body temperature regulation is shifting, and all of this stacks together with cortisol to make sleep restoration harder. This is why sleep hygiene actually fails most women. It is just not addressing what is actually broken. Nobody tells you that part. Now I want to talk to you about what's happening at the dinner table that may be destroying your sleep. This is a section I want to share with every midlife woman you know. What you eat at dinner directly affects whether you sleep through the night or not. A high carbohydrate dinner triggers a chain of blood sugar and hormone changes that often wakes you up between 2 and 4 a.m. It is one of the most common and overlooked causes of middle of the night awakenings in midlife women. So here's what is happening. You eat a dinner heavy in pasta, bread, rice, potato, sugar, and even a couple of glasses of wine. This is going to cause your blood sugar to rise quickly. Your body responds by releasing insulin to break that sugar down. And a few hours later, often between 2 to 3 a.m., your blood sugar is going to drop back down where it should be. But that is triggering a stress signal to your body. So cortisol and adrenaline are released to get that sugar back up. And this causes this rapid increase in cortisol and this early 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. awakening. You're falling asleep fine, but you're waking up between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. You're feeling anxious, your heart rate's racing, and you're lying there and taking a while to actually fall back asleep. Then, when you wake up in the morning, you are exhausted. Most women blame stress or hormones or getting older, but the reason is often sitting on your dinner plate from what you ate a few hours earlier. And here's what to do about it: build a dinner around protein, healthy fat, and vegetables. Keep refined carbohydrates and sugar to a minimum. Eat dinner earlier when you can. And if you're going to have a higher carbohydrate meal, pair it with a substantial amount of protein and fat to decrease that sugar response. And be honest about evening alcohol. Even one or two drinks can fragment your sleep architecture and make those 3 a.m. awakenings more likely. If you still tend to wake in the middle of the night, a small protein and fat snack about 30 to 60 minutes before bed can help to stabilize the blood sugar throughout the night. A small handful of nuts and a piece of cheese or a spoonful of butter. The goal is not to eat a meal at bedtime. The goal is to give your body just enough to keep blood sugar steady through the longest stretch of the night. This single change has helped many of my patients sleep through the night for the first time in years. It's not glamorous, but it works because it addresses what is actually causing the awakening. Now let's talk about why melatonin alone rarely fixes this. Melatonin is a sleep onset hormone. It tells your brain that it is time to sleep. It is helpful for shift workers and jet lag. But melatonin alone does not address cortisol surges. It does not address declines in progesterone, and it does not address blood sugar dips. None of that is addressed by melatonin. For the woman waking at 3 a.m. with a racing mind, the problem is rarely just a melatonin shortage. It's a cortisol surge, a progesterone decline, a blood sugar crash, or some kind of combination of those things. But melatonin alone cannot fix any of these things. So, this is why so many women have a drawer full of half used melatonin bottles. They worked for a few nights, then they stopped working. The body adapted around them because the underlying problem was somewhere else. So, what should you actually be investigating? When sleep is not restoring you, the right next step is a multi system evaluation that looks at hormones, cortisol, thyroid, blood sugar, and nutrient status together. That means a 4 point cortisol salivary panel, that maps out your cortisol throughout the day, a real sex hormone evaluation that includes progesterone, which is often missed, and it's a major contributor to midlife sleep disruption, a complete thyroid panel that includes reverse T3, free T3, free T4, and thyroid antibodies, blood sugar assessment that looks at insulin and glucose, and nutrient and inflammatory markers because magnesium, vitamin D, and chronic low grade inflammation all affect sleep and are rarely investigated in standard primary care. Sleep complaints in midlife rarely have a single cause, so a single system workup has almost never worked to find the answers. Here is what I want you to leave with. Disrupted sleep in the midlife is one of the most common and often dismissed symptoms in primary care. 8 hours in bed sounds normal. Wired but exhausted and tired is harder to measure. Inside a system that's built on rush visits and protocol medicine, the woman who's not sleeping is going to be missed. But you know your sleep. You know when it changed, and you know it is not what it used to be. Your body is not betraying you, it's changed, and it's telling you the truth. Sleep is not optional. It is one of the deepest forms of restoration the body has. When it stops working, almost everything else starts breaking down too. Real care does not dismiss that. You do not have to keep waking up exhausted, hoping the next week is going to be better. If you are sleeping but not restoring, and you have been told everything looks fine while you know it does not, I would love for you to book a free no pressure discovery call. My signature program is called the Finally Answered Program. It is a 3-month program rooted in helping women to deal with persistent symptoms, which include disrupted sleep, exhaustion, and brain fog, who are done leaving appointments without real answers. It's currently in beta with limited spots. The discovery call is free. It is a real conversation and not a sales call. Book your call at compassionprimarycare.com. The link is in the description. Compassion Primary Care serves women anywhere in the state of Florida through virtual appointments. I also do in person, at home visits, and visits at the Wellness Center of Ellington for anyone living in the Tampa Bay and Suncoast region. This is not your 20s, but this is not your new normal. And you do not have to prove you're struggling to be taken seriously here. Thank you for taking the time and trusting me with your time to view this video. I am Dr. Stasha-Gae Roberts, nurse practitioner and owner of Compassion Primary Care, where I assist my patients in nursing their journey to lasting wellness. Have a good one.